Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks to each of you for coming. With me today are some leaders from our legislature who have made this day possible. We have, I think, Representative Larry Sequist. Is Larry here? He could not make it. Representative Larry Haler, Representative Reuben Carlisle, Representative Tim Probst, Speaker Frank Chop, Senator Kilmer is here. Senators Tom and Hill could not join us, but each of them worked very, very hard throughout the legislative session to take the work of the Higher Education Funding Task Force and to put it into law. We're also joined by members of the Higher Education Funding Task Force. The two, I think, that were very critical, but all members worked very hard. The chair, of course, Brad Smith, who is the Senior Vice President and General Counsel at the Legal and Corporate Affairs of Microsoft, and also Laura Peterson, who is the Vice President of State and Local Government Relations for the Boeing Company. And they're going to come up in just a minute, and I'm going to ask them to introduce to you the other members of the task force that are present here. Let me just say a welcome. Also, I think we have Seattle City Council Member Tim Burgess. Are you here? I was told you were. Tim, thank you. I know you are a big fan of education, and it's great to have you with us here today. Thank you. A big thanks, if I can, to start out, to the work of Brad and Laura and the whole task force. You know, when you call on the private sector and ask for help, when they step up and they spend their summer and their fall, their winter and their spring, you know you've got people that are invested in the students of the state of Washington and want to see us have the most educated workforce that we can. Let me also take a moment to say thank you to some of the policy people that worked on this so hard. Obviously, the task force members and their policy people worked on it hard. A special thanks to my folks who were there all the time working on it. And a big thank you to our hosts here today, to Seattle Public Schools, our superintendent, Susan Enfield, the Cleveland High School principal, Princess Sharif, and to our school board member, Betty Latu. Thank you, each of you, for joining us today and for what you do for our students every single day. They here at Cleveland are doing what they can to get the students here engaged and involved in understanding that it's the fields of the future, like engineering and technology, global health and life sciences, where our students' future really lies. We're here today because that future of our children is what is the future of our state, and it depends on students like what we have here at Cleveland. It depends on our strength in the innovation-driven fields of the 21st century, science, technology, engineering, and math. Those are the languages of competition, and there's where we need to be strong. Many of our world-class companies that are part of the fabric of Washington State are growing and investing in their workforces today, including our Boeing Company and Microsoft, McKinstry, and others. But you can't build the aircraft of the future or the next revolution of software products without a great education for your students. To stay competitive economically, we've got to be competitive educationally. Last July, I asked these folks from our Higher Education Funding Task Force to develop proposals for the long-term funding of our colleges and universities, knowing full well that we're in the deepest recession in history. We took their recommendations after hard work that they put in, and today we're going to sign the bills resulting from their hard work. We're laying the groundwork to create the jobs of tomorrow, and we're doing it today. The reality in this recession has wiped out many jobs that our people have left, and those jobs aren't coming back. So we need to ready our students for the jobs of tomorrow. Those with a high school diploma were twice as likely to be unemployed in this recession. Looking forward over the next 8 years, it's obvious 2/3 of the jobs are going to require a college-level education. So the legislation that I will sign today responds to that reality. These legislators know that full well, and they took a leadership role in informing their colleagues. It is the result of the hard work of a bipartisan group of legislators, and it is the hard work of this task force and Brad and Laura. It prepares us for a globally competitive economy in which our greatest advantage has got to be the potential of our people. We are the most innovative state. We cannot be innovative if our children don't get the education they need and deserve. So first, we want to maintain our funding for our colleges and universities. To do so, we do need to let our institutions set tuition through 2019. It is the right thing to do. There's been controversy about it, but let me assure you, without it, we will lower the quality of our education in the state of Washington, and we will close the doors to our students. Neither of those outcomes was remotely agreeable by any member of the task force or any one of these legislators. When we look at the risk of reducing our quality of education, I can't tell you how competitive it is out there to get a high quality member of your faculty. When you lose them, you do not get them back overnight. So we will remain competitive with this new effort. We will establish a baseline to compare our tuition rates to those of peer institutions. Now, for instance, let me compare the University of Washington, since the president just arrived, and the general board. We compare them now to the top 10 globally competitive universities throughout America. After they raised tuition 28% over the last 2 years, they still remain the best bargain. What that tells us is every institution is raising tuition. We will require our institutions to mitigate the effects of tuition increases on our low and our middle income students. But let me again talk about these legislators. In a time when there was no new money put in virtually anything, they put in $100 million in state need grants, knowing they had. They also knew that with these tuition increases, the middle class is going to be impacted. So they raised the eligibility for the state need grant to ensure that those in the middle class will qualify. So today, it's $54,000 a medium income, and it will go to $98,000 for a family of 4. That's to make sure both low and middle income students are not adversely impacted by what we're doing today. Thank you all, and congratulations. Washington will be the first in the nation to adopt and to put in place the National Governors Association's Complete to Compete. The idea of making sure that everybody who goes completes. You need to get that AA degree, that baccalaureate degree, that master's degree. So we're trying to make sure every student actually ultimately gets it. To do so, we're going to monitor and make sure our institutions are getting students out whenever possible within 4 years, that they're reporting that so everybody knows how good they are performing in their relative universities. Today, the average graduation rate in 4 years is just over 40%. We must improve that to serve us up to have more vacancies so other students can get in. Complete to compete measures will allow us to track the students' progress, like enrollment rates for remedial courses, and the success rates of those who are first in their families to go to college. We will track our student outcomes, like our graduation rates, the number of degrees awarded, and the average amount of time it takes to degree. We expect our colleges to be very innovative. What these legislators and what these task force members said is, let us not micromanage these universities. These universities are the most creative, innovative out there. So let us charge them with what we want done and let them get about the business of making it happen. So they'll be looking. So they'll be looking at more online technology. They'll be looking at more technology in general. They'll be looking at smaller time for a student to get a baccalaureate degree and making sure that students who are on a 4-year track get out in 4 years. We're setting clear goals by 2018. We need to graduate 6,000 more students per year with baccalaureate degrees than we do now by that year. 2,000 of that 6,000 must be in science, technology, engineering, and math. And we must increase our graduation rates for our underrepresented populations so that they represent at least 19% of those who get baccalaureate degrees. Third, we want to keep the doors open for our students with a new scholarship program. It's the Opportunity Scholarship Program, to mitigate the impact of tuition increases on our low and our middle income students. This is a public-private partnership at its best. It is unique in the country. I hope the rest of the country follows suit, because we have the best companies willing to partner with the public sector to make sure all of our students find the doors to higher education open. By contributing to the Opportunity Scholarship Endowment, our businesses will be investing in homegrown talent, ensuring they will not look far afield to find the graduates with the right skills to put in their operations today. Through the legislation, our state and employers will partner through a board, working together to identify the high-demand fields, to make recommendations, to expand training to meet the needs of our private sector. And in the future, the state will match those private contributions in the endowment. Our goal is nothing short of a stretch goal for Washington State. $1 billion invested in the students of Washington State. My friends, that's what private sector and public sector working together can do in this great state. All of these steps will help us rise to the challenge of a very globally competitive atmosphere out there. Our students are not competing with students across America. They're competing with students across the globe. We need to give every student the opportunity to go to college and succeed. Again, I want to thank the leaders of our colleges and universities who are here present, our board of trustees who are here present. You guys are doing a great job in very difficult circumstances, and we thank you all for standing up and making it possible for us to maintain our high quality with the doors open to higher education. We have stepped up as a state to an incredibly difficult time. The deepest economic downturn in 80 years has put us into severe constraints. Some people have criticized the fact that a week ago I said I'd give the legislature a grade A. I hope this is further evidence of why I give them an A, for stepping up in the most difficult time, taking tough challenges, turning them into opportunities for our students across this state. The steps we take today are transformative. They are transformative response to a historic challenge. Today we're committing that we will continue, despite these tough times, to believe in Washington State. Our children deserve nothing less than a world-class college and university education. And we are working together to see that our students can attend, work hard, and graduate with more than just a degree. They will graduate with a ticket to more opportunities, like no generation that we've seen in history. I am the first person in my family to go to college. I know what a difference it makes. And I want to thank each and every one present. And again, I'm ready to sign these bills and set the course of history for Washington State. Congratulations all.